Remember Bill O'Reilly and his meltdown? Do it live. Just type in to Google or YouTube. Bill O'Reilly, do it live. I'll do it live. Epic. Do it live. Oh, it's green. Ooh, look at that. This is Kale Tonic, and since I use a green screen, you can see through my drink because it's pure green. Kale Tonic. What's in this? Kale, apples, cucumber, lemon. Don't know if you knew the ratio to put that in there, but we knew what was in it. This could either be decent or horrible. Either way, this is extremely healthy. So before I get into this video, I need some superpower. Doesn't smell half bad. Here we go. Let's do it. Do it live. Believe it or not, that is not half bad. And extremely healthy and cleansing for your inside of your body. That will be my quench, parching, whatever, dry mouth parching liquid for this evening. Now, I told you the other day about Brazil. Had you had precious metals and you lived in Brazil, the amount of what was it, 4 times the value of your precious metals would have taken place overnight practically. And I said that would have saved your livelihood, your financial livelihood right then and there. Had you had your retirement or a nest egg set in gold and silver, you'd have been set. Everyone else would have been panicking, running in the streets, or you would have been like, wow, the value of this just went up 4 times in my country's currency. I got another story for you. I told you there were other ones out there, but that was a pretty powerful one at the time. So I mentioned that one. How about I go over to silverdoctors.com and I go to an article from today. Venezuela is now the most expensive country in the Spanish speaking countries? Nope. In the southern part, summer hemisphere of the world? Nope. In the entire world. How about that? Venezuela is now the most expensive country in the world. Forget Norway, Japan, Iceland, Switzerland, or any other place around the world that are notorious for being painful on the wallet. Venezuela is now the most expensive country in the world, hands down. Submitted by Simon Black, Sovereign Man. To give you an idea, the cost of a 15-minute taxi ride to the beach yesterday afternoon totaled an eye-popping $158. He says, quote, I paid less than that to rent a helicopter in Colombia last week. With all of its vast mining resources, Venezuela should be the most prosperous country in Latin America by far, and it once was. But years of corruption, incompetence, and central planning have taken their toll. Normally, when huge companies like ExxonMobil extract oil out of the ground, they reinvest a portion of their profits back into into improving their operations. They spend money on more infrastructure, technology, and exploration. In short, they invest in the future. But in Venezuela, guys like Hugo Chavez and his successor Nicolas Maduro spent years funneling oil revenues into idiotic social programs designed to keep themselves in power. Venezuela did not invest in the future. Now its oil infrastructure is rotting, production is in serial decline, and the oil price has collapsed to boot. Now, granted, the United States of America on its paper exchanges sets the price of oil every single day. There's no such thing as all supply and demand came down, the prices went up. Syrian rebels, price went up. No, the price of a barrel of oil is set on Wall Street, technically the COMEX, every single day. The news means nothing. The wars mean nothing. It is a ploy to get you to accept and understand their nonsense. So on that side, when it says, and the oil prices collapsed to boot, that's because the U.S. made it so. This is bad news for a government that generates a huge proportion of its revenue from oil exports. Now let's think, if we America want to go to war, and we do, um, if you held the price of oil down, considering how many other countries across the world, the planet, need decent revenue from oil production, and you're forcing it down and holding it down with a stranglehold, you're going to anger some people. They may want to get angry and attack someone or lash out and maybe start a war. Just going to throw that out there. And just like how the United States and most of the West can't balance their budgets without going even further into debt, Venezuela's government also spends far more than it generates in revenue, especially now. With the government's budget deficit of 14% of GDP, they're barely able to make their debt payments this month without defaulting. In fact, Venezuela is so screwed up that the government doesn't have a hope of balancing its budget unless the oil price is between 100 and 120 a barrel. Imagine that. We know exactly where to put that price of oil to cause pain across the world. We know exactly where to put it. Thus, they've had to resort to even more destructive ways of making ends meet. Like most governments, that means printing money. The problem is the Venezuelan bolivar, or bolivar, isn't used as a reserve currency around the world like the US dollar or euro. That is what has enabled the US to get away with its relentless printing so far, as much of the resulting inflation is simply exported abroad. Instead, here, when they print bolivars, Venezuelans are stuck with all of it, Zimbabwe style. Inflation in Venezuela has been among the highest in the world, with some private estimates as high as 800%. Once that became a problem, their solution was to introduce price controls, which failed miserably. Venezuela infamously tried fixing prices in the grocery stores and ended up with crippling shortages of everything from beef to toilet paper. Then they decided to try capital controls by forcing a completely absurd official exchange rate to the local currency. And that's what makes this country so expensive. The official rate of their dollar is 6.3 to our dollar. 6.5 or 6.3 bolivars to 1 US dollar. Translated in gold and silver speak, your gold and silver in Venezuela just went up 630%. In other words, 6.3 times, right? Whatever it's at today, let's just say, right, silver, which for quick, easy math is $20 an ounce times 6. 6 times 2, 120, $120 per ounce silver in Venezuela should, if the price is at 20. And by the way, if you're buying Silver Eagles, it is at 20. So $20 US silver, step next door to Venezuela, 120 bucks, please. Excuse me? ¿Cómo está? Mira. ¿Qué? No. No. $120 for an ounce of silver? Are you crazy? That's what it is. Go see what a thing of bread cost you. This meat they're talking about, how much is that? So we have Brazil, now Venezuela, deep trouble. And people are trying to say that September 2015, the date, even Martin Armstrong's date of 2015.75, which is October 1st, which is the exact day Russia went after ISIS in Syria, that war started. And he said there's a war cycle he's looking at intertwined with the sovereign debt boom super cycle that was forecast for that exact date, which, as you can see, unless you're freaking blind, has begun. And while right now you can say, well, it's good to be an American, man, imagine if our dollar went down 6.5. Oh, geez, God. Even if it got 50%, that'd only be half of that. Oh my God. At least we're the ones that are everyone's devaluing, or their dollars being massively devalued compared to ours. That's why. Well, hey, American man, gotta love America. Maybe you didn't catch the part where I was trying to tell you. Damn, my nose itches. We're the one. We export our debt to the rest of the world. We cause all the world's problems. We start all these wars. The military-industrial complex will not get a budget cut. As I just said in the other video, 618 or $12 billion National Defense Authorization Act completed. Budget, 38 billion in additional funding was needed and passed with a supermajority in the Senate. Don't even need the president's signature. Veto proof. Have a nice day. Good day, sir. Willy Wonka style. And they can't even give a raise, the cost of living raise, to Social Security beneficiaries. Because we look at inflation to determine if we're going to do that, and right now it's really, really low. We mainly look at the price of oil to determine that. And with the price of oil being down so low, you guys aren't getting any raise. But the military-industrial complex just got a raise. And all the weapons we sent to ISIS and military equipment and billions of dollars over there just got destroyed by Russia. So we spent for all that equipment. Who did we spend the money? Who got the money? The private industry, military-industrial complex got the money. They then ship the vehicles and weapons and everything over there. They don't care that that stuff just got destroyed by Russia because now we need to get more from them to give back to those guys to get destroyed more by Russia, thus making the military-industrial complex's pockets even fatter while squeezing blood from a turnip, known as the American taxpayer and recipient of Social Security. How many of your parents or people you know rely heavily on that right now who are about to get screwed? Because last time I went to the grocery store, I didn't see cheap gas prices reflecting on cheaper groceries. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure beef prices and pork and other things have been at all-time highs recently. Those are the things those recipients need. So why are you looking at gas prices as the only thing? That's because they don't care and they need an excuse and they'll tell you anything. So this is just another country falling down the tubes thanks to, honestly, what America's done. However, the same problems we have in this country with fraud, corruption, rotten political people trying to make themselves rich at the expense of everybody else. Copy, go to any other country, paste. Copy, Venezuela, paste. Copy, US, any South American country, paste. Not any South American country, any country, except maybe Iceland, because Iceland, I think, got it right. And now, Catalonia, Spain, because I believe they succeeded in separating from Spain. They got the picture. We won't get the picture until it is far too late and there's literally blood on the streets when everyone else finally figures out, oh my God, we got to do something about this. That's about the time when you don't want to see what the price of silver is, or the average person. You and I are going to love what the price is. But a high gold and silver price is going to be a thermometer of mass epic proportions, which tells you things around this country and the world are not good. When that barometer, so to speak, or temperature gauge, known as gold and silver prices, show up and say, ooh, very high prices there means everything else sucks. Big trouble. Big trouble in Little China. So I want to share that with you. There's guaranteed to be other countries right after Venezuela. There'll be someone else. There'll be other banking institutions and commodity institutions like Glencore and Trafigura. Boom, domino, 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 domino. Can't wait to see which one's next, to tell you the truth. Take care.